Hi folks, I just want to talk about a few things. I just want to read a few quotes from this book, The Mystery of Reason, by Paul Hafner, just for discussion. It says, the crucified Son of God, this is page 43, the crucified Son of God is the historic event upon which every attempt of the mind to construct an adequate explanation of the meaning of existence upon merely human argumentation comes to grief. The true key point which challenges every philosophy is Jesus Christ's death on the cross. It is here that every attempt to reduce the Father's saving plan to purely human logic is doomed to failure. St. Paul emphasizes that wisdom of language, wise words which would make the cross of Christ pointless. The Apostle paraphrases a passage in the book of prophet Isaiah and exclaims, as Scripture says, I am going to destroy the wisdom of the wise and bring to nothing the understanding of any understanding. And then he writes, the wisdom of the cross therefore is a challenge to reason, which does not destroy human thinking, but rather purifies, elevates and transforms it, heals it, redeems it, so that it can rise higher. You know, from the Christian position, the human reason has fallen, and human reason, without these other aspects to it, loses its centrality and its focus. Reason needs to be connected to faith and to love. And if you read the Bible, a human being is holistic. A human being is someone who has love, faith and reason. Now if you look at, and these are not in opposition to each other, but they are unified together as one. And so reason cannot have any purpose without love. Love cannot have any purpose without faith. Faith cannot have any purpose without reason. Reason cannot have any purpose without faith, etc. They are like a three golden cord wrapped together to provide a strong foundation, a strong rope to hold us. And that's the way Christianity presents the way we know as a threefold way. If you read 1 John, it's faith, love and reason. You know, there is, if you read 1 John, love is connected to reason, is connected to the cross that Christ died, is connected to history of who Jesus is. You read at the beginning, we could read just to see, you know, if you read 1 John, it says, that which was from the beginning, that which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes. So there's this reason in terms of we've had an experience of the physical resurrection of Christ. They've seen the living Christ. So that's a logical, reasonable thing. It's historical evidence that you can deal with. But then it talks about love and faith, and that it's no good saying you have faith if you're not loving, etc. You see. So if we go back, so I'll read that again. The wisdom of the cross therefore is a challenge to reason, which does not destroy human thinking, but rather purifies, elevates, transforms it, heals it and redeems it, so that it can rise higher. So the cross is also, you know, the cross is wrapped up in reason, faith and love, and skepticism is wrapped up in just reason. If reason doesn't have faith and love, then reason destroys itself. And you see the advancement in the modern 20th and 21st century of science and saying reason is all that we need. But we see the massive implications of what happened in the 20th century. We had two communist empires that killed millions of people. We had the First World War, Second World War, and you have to face the fact that that was based on the Enlightenment project of putting reason above everything else. You know, it's all the political, all the rest of it, all stems from the fact that the Enlightenment put reason above everything else. And we see that in the despair of modern philosophy in trying to deal with some of the bigger questions, etc. So Christianity gives a more unified understanding of what it is to be human, that you can't split human nature up into compartmentalized, that human nature is a whole, and we are human beings who want to love, we're human beings who want to reason, and we're human beings of faith, and you can't just separate them like Kant tried to do and put, say, reasons here it's more valuable if it's more empirical, but intuitions or anything else that we can't verify by science is not valuable. That's splitting, that's dichotomizing what we are as human beings. If human nature is artistic, if human nature looks for the beautiful, if human nature is philosophical, if human nature is scientific, these are all part of what it is to be human and what it is to know. And to give a Western compartmentalized theory of knowledge because it suits us, because it pushes religion to one side and pushes it out of the equation, then we end up splitting what we are as human beings. But the other thing about this is, for this direct quote here, it says, "The wisdom of the cross therefore is a challenge to reason which does not destroy human thinking, but rather purifies, elevates and transforms it, heals it and redeems it so that it can be higher." So what I talked about there is the context of Christianity and human reason in a holistic sense, as opposed to skepticism and it's splitting what we are as human beings into compartmentalization. But also, if you turn to 1 Corinthians, and we read, "For it hath been declared unto me, unto you, my brethren, for Christ sent me not to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Christ should be made of none effect. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, I would bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath not God made foolishness the wisdom? For after is the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God. It pleased God by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe." You know, human nature tried to exalt itself and put autonomous reason above knowledge of God at the fall. Adam and Eve wanted to put their reason above knowledge of God, and reason became fallen. At the cross, reason is redeemed, but at the cross, God has gone beyond reason. There is a knowledge at that cross that reason cannot go, and that is to humble reason, to put it in its place, because at the fall it tried to exalt itself but brought itself down. But at the cross, God makes reason look foolish, because in a way God has done something that reason would have never even computed or tried to understand or even have come up with. So God destroys the proudness of human reason, but then at the same time redeems reason by giving reason its redemption, by giving reason its purpose, by bringing reason into its right relationship with its God. And that is and elevate reason in the right way, in its more holistic context of faith, hope and love. And if we grasp that the cross is bigger than our reason, that it's there to humble us, to show us that by our cleverness we can never know God, but it was by the foolishness of preaching, then we begin to come into a right understanding of God, a right relationship with Him. And that's why the proud never come to know God. That's why many skeptics and atheists will not know God, because they are so proud of their knowledge and proud of who they are. You listen to them on the Google Hangouts with their little puns and little quibs, thinking they're clever and really smart. These are people who are never going to find the truth, because the truth will never open up to them. The truth will only open up to those who humble themselves and who have a right view of themselves a right view of themselves in terms of reality, in terms of the limitations and capacity of reason, a right view in the need to have a holistic view of reason in terms of what it is to be human, and a right view in relation to the Creator and to creation. For reason is not, even because reason, if it's not in relation to the Creator, will abuse creation. And we've seen that reason and the Enlightenment, and for the last 200 years, feels that it is as a monopoly and a right to manipulate nature for its own ends. And we've seen the destruction of forests, we've seen the destruction of many things in nature because of the power of reason being dominant and dominating. But under the auspice of God, under God and following God, reason is to be a steward of nature, not to exploit it, but to develop and use it for the good of mankind and for the good of nature, for the glory of God. So these are some aspects about Christianity and reason, but all in the relation of the cross and reason, and how that comports to modern philosophy and modern thinking about reason. They're diametrically opposed, and two different worldviews, two different philosophies of life and reason. And I hope that's a stimulation to your own thinking. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.